usually offer some bottles of sake, this height. And just after the earthquake, some officials in charge of the buildings went up to the top to check the building, and they found no sake bottles fell. It was amazing.
Wow.
And then all these 4 towers, they look very beautiful, but it's a kind of divide. So once you get into one of the small towers, you are like sardines in a can, because every small tower has lower ceiling and narrower staircases. And in those days, samurai wore very heavy armor, so they couldn't move at all. Yeah. So that is also the kind of divide. And then that was not a living quarter, so the lord and his family used to live in the mansions built somewhere on the castle ground. There were so many office buildings and mansions on the castle ground, but there are none today. Because when the Meiji period started in 1868, everything was returned to the Meiji Emperor. So the Meiji period was a recovery of the emperor's power, so there were no more shogun and no more samurai. The feudal system was abolished. That's why these huge castles became obsolete. So the Meiji government ordered many castles should be torn down or burned down. So at that time, many castles disappeared. And this castle was to be torn down by the government policy in the Meiji period. But there was a great man whose name was Colonel Nakamura. And he insisted to the government this castle should be preserved regardless of the cost. Thanks to him, we have a beautiful castle now. Then Himeji became a military city in the Meiji period. So the 10th Infantry was stationed on the castle ground, and they would like to build a barracks for the soldiers. That's why there are many more buildings torn down. That's why there are none of the mansions today on the castle ground. But right there used to be the mansion for Lord Honda's son and his wife, Princess Sen. And she was the granddaughter of the shogun. So many women maids waited on her living over there. And most of the women maids used to live in that long corridor building behind you. So the building starts just over there and goes round that way. It is about 300 meters long or 1,000 feet long. Wow. It was really a women's quarter. And men were not allowed to enter that building in those days. Now it's okay. But in those days there were many separate rooms in there. And each room was decorative, and it was furnished, but everything was taken away. So now it's just a simple corridor building in it. So there's nothing beautiful in it. So we will skip that part, because we have limited time. So anyway, okay?
I have a quick question.
Okay.
You said that this castle, it's simple on the inside because they store things in there. What did they store in there?
Just in case, they have, sometimes in case of the battle, we usually fought in the open space. But when they realized they couldn't live any longer because of the complete defeat, they retreated and stayed in the tower for a year or so until the party came to rescue them. So in the meantime, many of them might be starved to death. That's why they usually kept a lot of weapons and food. Yeah. And of course they had another building where they could keep a lot of food too. Yeah. Yeah. Okay? And this castle is very famous for the movies. So maybe you are very young, so the movies were quite old. So the 2 movies filmed here. One of them is the Shogun, main character Richard Chamberlain, and the other one is much more famous. That is one of the James Bond. So you only live twice. Yeah. So I'm going to show you those places filmed on the castle ground. Okay?